I want to give a quick rundown of this year's Belize trip, and right now it is scheduled for June 7th through 14th. When we actually get the tickets, we may have to make some adjustments there, but it will only be like a day or two either way, and you'll have plenty of forewarning to know to make rearrangements in any way you need to do so. I kind of pull in different areas, and all these pictures came from last year's trip. And one of the areas that I always talk to people about is you have to be flexible and basically be all in to whatever's going on. Enjoy the moment, enjoy what's going on. We kind of had a difficult situation. We had a lot of waiting time in Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, and that's where this picture comes from. But from DFW, we fly into Belize City. And here's Belize City Airport. It's very small. Here is last year's group who was waiting for our plane flight to Punta Gorda. And so once we land in Belize City, we'll hang out there until we can take off, and we'll play a propeller plane to Punta Gorda, Belize, which is down toward the south. And the propeller plane, we may land in Dangriga and Placencia before we get there, or if we have a big enough group, we will be the only people on the plane. They'll take us straight to Punta Gorda. It takes about 50 minutes. Not a bad deal. You get to see a little bit of the shoreline as you go across here. This is actually flying out of Punta Gorda, and you can kind of look down, and this is part of the town of Punta Gorda where we'll be staying. But we'll be going there and leaving on the propeller plane, which is an enjoyable trip if you've never done that. What we always try to do is have a couple of days within the week where we do something active and kind of get to know the geography. And something that I've done every time, and something that right now the plan is to do again, which is take everybody snorkeling. This is a picture of Snake Key, and has some very clear water out there in order to go, and we can see starfish and lobsters and all sorts of stuff as you go through and you snorkel in that area. What they usually do too is they'll feed us lunch out there and make it kind of a nice day. Now, one of the things that I recommend on the snorkeling day, and I'll push this over and over again as we get closer to the actual trip, which is you will want to wear a long sleeve shirt. And the reason is that the sun is brutal, and there's nothing worse than being just burned to a crisp after that first day, and the rest of the week you've got plenty of pain dealing with the sunburn. Something else you're going to find out with me is I'm very cautious, and even if you are a great swimmer, I'm going to have you put on life jackets when we're snorkeling, just because when you have a big group of people out there, it's hard to keep track of everybody. You want to make sure everybody's very safe, know what it is. Now, if there's a very shallow area, and there will be some shallow areas, it would be a possibility if you wanted to take it off and you dive down and do whatever and come back up. But we're always going to be around people. We're going to take a lot of precautions to make sure that everybody is safe throughout the trip. These first few pictures deal with some of the outdoor activities we did. You can see the opening to a cave that we hiked to, and even did a little bit of a cave swim, and I'll show a little bit of that later on. We did kayaking last year. I don't know that I'll do it this year, but it was an interesting moment there when it came to kayaking down the trip. I think I'm going to try to do something different than the kayaking part this year, but that remains to be seen. But the reason I did do the kayaking, although we saw plenty of those, as you can see right in the middle of this screen is an iguana about the size of a Labrador Retriever. And we saw lots of iguanas out there. Even when we went to the Snake Keys, they took us to a little area where we went up, and there were a bunch of iguanas that we had. Our guide ended up feeding Doritos to them, but it was interesting to see iguanas out in the wild. Now, here was the cave swim. This is actually the rainy season, so we can't go very far into the caves. You go so far, it starts becoming a little treacherous and dangerous, but we went up a little bit, and you have to kind of swim against the current pretty hard. There's a few places to get out and see some things, and it's kind of a fun trip, and I think everybody that did it found it very enjoyable, and so that'd be something we'd probably look at again. We also go and spend several days in the schools in the Toledo district of Belize. This little swinging bridge is in Halacte, and it's one of the schools we will probably visit. I know the principal out there. I know the principal in all of these schools, actually, but I know him very well. He's very inviting. Likes to have us out there. The kids kind of grabbed most of the students last time, wanted to take them across this little swinging bridge, and we all enjoyed that. This is out in Barranco, and Barranco will be our first visit. Easier to take by boat, and so we may take a boat around to it instead of by car. And the reason is it saves you an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just a much easier trip to go by boat. But Barranco is traditional Griffin village. They have a lot of different ethnicities of kid in the school, but the Griffin village, the traditional part, is the kind of the black population out there. And so again, we'll go up there. When we went up this time, they took the kids out. They played drums for us, showed us traditional dances, gave us a little tour of the town, all that kind of stuff. So it was a very enjoyable time. And then we also, these are another school here. Now, what we do in the schools overall is we try to either we'll do tutoring. Sometimes there's all sorts of needs in the schools where it comes to teachers, and so we have to be flexible. Last year we had a couple of times where a couple of students taught perimeter to some young kids, how to find the perimeter of an object. We had Matthew Bradley, who's pictured right here, helped out with a contest some of the schools were going to have, so he did some quizzing, took the kids off for that. We helped out with their standardized tests in another school, and we did read alouds in another school, the pre-K group. And so there are any number of things. We're prepared for it. You know, not a problem. Just again, you got to be all in, and when the opportunities present themselves, we take advantage of it. And I think it was a very worthwhile thing for everybody concerned. So here are a couple of things, and I just have a couple of focal points to finish up this little presentation. Is number one, if you're interested in going, first of all, you need to contact me, and let's talk about all the different areas, answer any questions you may have, because there's got to be tons of questions that I'm not touching base on in this particular area. But as we go further along, if you're interested, I send out all sorts of lists and all sorts of information so you can make sure you're aware. But passport is going to be obviously important. Now, passport only takes probably, they say give up to like 30, 45 days. Usually they can turn it around and you get it in a couple of weeks. But you know, you're going to have to think about getting a passport. When I talk about art of travel, is that travel always requires you to be flexible, adaptable, and you just got to be all in with whatever you're doing. And when I say that, it means that there's going to be some times where we're all going to be tired. We do a little bit of walking at times. We have a few long days. There's only like one major paved road, and once we get off it, it's going to be very bumpy and difficult at times. So it's just going to be, you know, it's going to be incredibly enjoyable. You're going to find it to be one of the, something that if I'm doing it right, is going to be in a lot of ways almost life-changing. However, it's not always easy. And so one of the areas, and I had someone several years ago that always wanted to stay back until I finally just came and said, no, you got to get, you come on. You're here to experience what is going on. And so that is what I really come through there. There is nothing you can bring to the table. There's no problems you can have that we can't handle. And I say this all the time, is that we all have areas, I don't know what you would call it, we all have our internal demons. And so if you're nervous about snorkeling, not a problem. But I'll probably try to convince you, you're going to be on the boat, you got to go out with us. And you could sit there, but I'd try to convince you to at least get in the water, and would work with trying to keep you in a place where you feel safe. We're not worried about any of that kind of stuff. If you know, have difficulty with any area, we're going to work through whatever it is. It's a very safe area. I've been 20 times. I've worked with the education center down there, the education management down there, so I know people in every little village, every little town in that area. And so there's nothing there that we can't take care of. Very safe, a good place to be. Now the one thing is that the cost will cover everything but food and souvenirs. So what does that mean? The international travel, the in-flight travel, the rental vehicle, the tours that we take, all that kind of stuff is taken care of. But you'll need to look for food and souvenirs. And so we had the discussion the other day with a group is about how much should you budget for food. And I would say that $20 a day will probably be plenty. And so, you know, and souvenirs is up to however many, what you want as far as souvenirs go. So, you know, if you're looking at a week-long stay, 7 days, food will probably be around $140, and souvenirs, whatever you want, as far as that goes, you can spend as much as you want. So, roughly, if you wanted to go the minimum area, you probably need to plan to bring when you go down there is probably a couple of $100. Now, on my end, as far as the travel goes and getting prepared, what I'm going to look for is a deposit of $250 on December 1st, And that allows me to really do some planning to determine who's going to be ready to go in June. And then the second payment will be January 10th of $700. And at that point, I will go out and purchase the tickets to Belize City and begin trying to get ready for the payment for the in-country travel, in Belize travel through the propeller plane. So the truth of the matter is, I think everything I say says there's no refunds, and that's not necessarily true. If between December 1st and January 10th you say, oh, something happened, I just can't do it, then I can refund that. The problem becomes if I buy the international tickets, I can't get refunds for those. And so at that point, no refunds can take place, at least for what I've actually expended cannot take place. And then we'd have a final payment of $600 around March 7th, and we'd be getting ready to go. We'd be planning to go. So here's the thing. If you have any questions, call me or email me. I don't have it down here. My email is whickey, W-H-I-C-K-E-Y, at uttyler.edu, and I'll return the email, and my phone number is even on the bottom of my signature line, and be glad to talk to you there as well.